Good morning, everyone. My name is Tanu, and today I am going to teach you about federal system. So, when I talk about federal system, I am going to talk about its meaning, its comparison, and its critical evaluation. So, do you know what do we mean by term federal? When I talk about federal, so from where this federal system has come, it has come from a term meaning federation, which in Latin means treaty or agreement. So, federal political system is any political system which is formed by either integration or separation. So, that I have already told, keep this federation can be done by two methods by way of integration. Like if I talk about the first federation in the world that is formed after American Revolution, that is USA, United States of America. Name itself says United. And by way of disintegration, like Canada. Excuse me. For the purpose of autonomy, we have divided Canada into multiple regional areas so that we can promote regional interests. So there can be many reasons for which we can form federation. So generally federal system is all about that. And if I talk about types of government, so there can be various bases on which we can divide a government. So today we are going to talk about on the basis of relationship between national versus regional government. So when I talk how many types of government can exist on this basis, the major ones are federal and unitary. When I talk about federal one, here division of power is granted by constitution. That means power separation is defined and also defined independent jurisdiction. Whereas if I talk about unitary government, what happens is power source is national government and regional government may or may not exist. And also if it exists, I'm talking about the regional government, then from where it derives its authority? It derives its authority from central government. So here we can see that in case of federal, since demarcation of power or separation of power is given by constitution itself, so there state plays very important role, like it has some role which has been conferred to it by constitution. But when I talk about unitary government, it's like purely on the will of the central government, what the powers it want to give to the state and what not. And what are the examples of federal form of government? Like if you see USA, Switzerland, Russia, Canada, all are having federal. And if I talk about unitary, then Britain, Ford, France, Japan, China, all these are having your unitary. And now I'm sure question will be coming to your mind. What about India? So don't worry, we are going to learn about that also. So before moving ahead, I would like to make a little bit recap what the features of federal government and unitary government is. If you can see, I have just divided into side by side differentiation. So federal government is a dual government. Like I've already you have seen now, a constitution is giving powers to central and state or regional government. And if I talk about unitary, obviously it is single government. Then constitution in case of federal government, it is written supreme and rigid. And why this arrangement is there? Because suppose if I write a book and I can come and say, anyone can come and say whatever they want and anyone can come and amend whatever they want. So would this constitution be having any value? No, no. So that's why we have made such a process. We have made it written so that nobody can come and say that like you have said this or you have said that. And supreme, like we have made the system that this book is sacred and whatever this book will say, we will what this law book will say, we will follow. And also rigid. So it's not easy to remove the terms what is like condition and terms what is given there. And if I talk about unitary government, so it can be written, it cannot be written. It can be supreme, it can be non-supreme. It can be rigid, it can be flexible. It's up to you. Okay? Because we all know power of source is just your unitary government only. Then independent judiciary, bicameral legislature, example Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, all these features of federal government. It is needed to run the country. But since we know in case of unitary government, no separation of powers, so judiciary is also independent, not independent doesn't matter, na? Because judiciary, if it is independent, then also like central government is going to do everything. So if there is no separation of power and power giver is only central government only, so in case of these disputes, uh, judiciary cannot have much say, na? Because everything is in hands of central government only. So judiciary, if they want, they can make that judiciary independent. If they do not want, they can make it not independent. Similarly, with legislature, bicameral or unicameral, it can be both. So unitary government is very flexible because whole source of power is your unitary government only, your single government only. I hope it is clear to you. And now I have already told what about Indian political system. So based on Canadian model, we have taken our political system and not on American model. So we can say that we have made our country federal, or you can say quasi federal, by means of disintegration, right? Reason to choose federation by makers of Constitution of India. Let's talk about that also. First, our country's size was very large. Our country was having so much diversity in terms of social and cultural things कि we have to just look into that factors also to achieve effective and proper governance. Like national unity was also our priority because we have just gained independence, so we can't afford everybody is on a different page. We can't afford that now because we need to be united to protect ourselves. Then regional autonomy, good governance, all these things were on the table of the maker of Constitution of India. So our federation is just a kind of quasi federal where centralizing tendency is there. That means center is strong in most of the cases, but yeah, it is not only the center who is giving power, it's constitution who is giving power, and state is also having a enough share of power. Like if I talk about federation, do you think this federation term is mentioned in our Constitution of India? So answer is no, it is not explicitly mentioned. Article 1 says what? Union of states. Okay, so states, they have no right to secede. Indestructible union. It is not like USA where they can separate. Ours is indestructible union by way of disintegration. Okay, now I've understood it. So if now I move ahead, so our constitution has provided federal features in how many ways? Like dual polity is there, constitution is written rigid and supreme, separation of powers is there, independent judiciary is there, bicameralism is there. Okay, and now what are the unitary features which our Constitution of India has given? Indestructible union of states, single constitution and citizenship. Have you seen, like if somebody is residing in Uttar Pradesh, that person is having a separate citizenship, or if somebody is residing in your Delhi, that person is having separate citizenship? It is not the case now. We can roam here and there with one single citizenship. We all are Indians. So, and also there is only one constitution. Every state is not having their own constitution. There is only one constitution which is both center and state, and judiciary is following. So this is also telling that our is unitary feature of Constitution of India. Then flexible constitution. You have read there, na? For unitary feature, it can be flexible, it can be non-flexible. So ours is flexible in terms of like if we see amendment process too. In few places, amendment has been kept very like less rigid, and in few cases it has been kept very rigid, depending upon the case, depending upon the priorities. Like our priority is national unity and good governance, so whatever is required for that, our constitution has provided the things accordingly. And also strong center, we all know there are many provisions like your emergency provision or war provision, or sometimes when it happens ki, like there is a what to say strife between two states or something, then also constitution has provide mechanisms for state, like your center to overpower. So yeah, strong center is there, and if you will read further constitution of India, you will get to know that integrated judiciary, it is not there na? Ki like for one state there is one supreme court and high court and all these things, and then for other state we are having another supreme court. Supreme court is only one. A chain of justice system is there. Okay, like after your Supreme Court, there's High Court, then lower courts, and all those things. But highest court is Supreme Court, and that is open to all, right? Integrated audit and election machinery. Like if I talk about CAG, so what happens? There is only one CAG, na? So Comptroller and Auditor General. It's not like every state is having that. So similarly, also if I talk about election commission, there is only one election commission for central elections, right? And in that whole India takes part. So it is that. Then president appoint and remove. If I talk about that, so I have talked about strong center now. What is the example? Although we are having state election commission also, and your integrated like audit and election machinery is there. In that case also, the thing is they are appointed by president and not the state. Why? Because the thing is कि although they work for both center and state, the thing is कि strong center is strong and they take part of care of this thing, and also all India services, emergency provisions, all these things. So, like if you see, you can see here there are so many things. Appointment of governor, all these are unitary features. So for the rest of the things, we will study in the next lecture. Abhi is time to wrap up. I hope you have understood it. Thank you.